He knew exactly what to do and chose the opposite. Not because he didn't understand the assignment, not because the instructions were unclear. Actually, it was the opposite. The direction was simple. Go to Nineveh. That was it. No riddle, no hidden meaning, no interpret this, just go. And Jonah didn't. Instead, he went down to the port, bought a ticket, and boarded a ship going the other way. Which says a lot, because this wasn't hesitation. This wasn't confusion. This was clarity, followed by resistance. The kind that doesn't look dramatic. No panic, no argument, no visible struggle. Just a quiet decision to not deal with it. It's the kind of move that feels smart in the moment, like leaving a conversation before it gets uncomfortable, or pretending a problem isn't urgent because it hasn't exploded yet. Everything about it feels controlled, and that's what makes it dangerous, because this isn't confusion, this is avoidance, with better planning. Jonah wasn't lost. He wasn't unsure, he just didn't want what was on the other side of that decision, and that changes everything, because once you know, not acting isn't neutral anymore. It's intentional. And intentional avoidance has a pattern. It doesn't argue, it doesn't announce itself, it just quietly moves in the opposite direction, while convincing you it's reasonable. And this is where the story shifts, because it's no longer about a prophet ignoring a call. It's about someone actively choosing distance from something they fully understand. So Jonah boards the ship. No one questions him, no resistance, no warning signs. Everything works. The timing is perfect, the route is clear, the plan holds. From the outside, it looks like progress. From the inside, it's just delay. And delay feels safe until it starts accumulating. Because distance doesn't solve pressure, it stores it. Jonah doesn't see that yet. Right now, all he sees is space. Space from the mission, space from the responsibility, space from what he didn't want to face. And for a moment, that feels like control. But this is the part most people miss. The problem wasn't the boat, it wasn't the sea, it wasn't even the direction. It was the decision behind all of it. Because you can change where you are, and still be exactly where the problem expects you to be. And this is where it stops being a plan, and starts becoming a pattern. And patterns don't stay quiet for long. The storm wasn't random, it was connected. At first it looked like timing. Wind shifts, waves rise, the sky tightens. Normal for a moment, until it isn't, because this one escalates too fast, too direct, too specific. And while everything is breaking above deck, Jonah is below it, sleeping, not unaware, not confused, unavailable. Everyone's working. He's offline. And that's the detail that matters, because this isn't exhaustion. This is avoidance, reaching its final form. When ignoring stops working, some people don't engage, they disappear. Not physically, functionally. Above deck, the crew moves faster, shouting, adjusting, throwing cargo overboard, trying to survive something they can't control. And that's when it shifts. Because experienced people know, when a problem doesn't behave normally, it usually isn't random. So they stop fighting the storm and start scanning the system, looking for what doesn't fit, looking for who doesn't fit. And suddenly, this isn't about weather anymore, it's about source. They cast lots. No debate, no bias, just process. And it lands on Jonah. Of course it does. Because avoidance doesn't eliminate impact, it redistributes it. That's the part most people miss. You don't escape consequences, you outsource them, and now everyone else is paying for a decision they didn't make. So they wake him up, fast, direct, no patience left. Who are you? Where are you from? What is happening? And this is where it breaks open. Because Jonah doesn't dodge it. No denial, no spin, just clarity. He explains, and the moment he does, everything clicks. The storm isn't natural, it's attached to a choice, a deliberate one, and now it's visible. Because that's how this works. Avoidance hides the cause until the cost gets high enough. Then it exposes everything at once. And here's the turning point. Up until now, this looked personal. One man, one decision. But now it's shared. The crew didn't choose this, they didn't sign up for it, but they're inside it, risking everything. for something they didn't start, and that's when avoidance fully collapses. Not when things go wrong, but when other people start carrying it. Because once impact spread, silence stops protecting you, and exposure begins, and from this point on, no one is asking what's happening anymore. They're asking who caused it. And once that question is asked, there's no controlled way out of it. He already knew what to do, he just didn't want to say it. Because once you say it, you can't pretend it's complicated anymore. Up until now, everything still had space. The storm was chaos, the crew was guessing, the cause was unclear. But clarity removes options, and that's the problem. So they ask him directly, "Who are you? What is this? Why is this happening?" And Jonah answers, not carefully, not defensively, clearly, which is exactly what makes it worse. Because now there's no confusion, no mystery, no way to soften it, just a straight line from decision to consequence. And here's where it turns. Because once the cause is obvious, the solution usually is too. And that's what people resist the most. Not because they don't understand it, because they do. Jonah doesn't argue, he doesn't stall, he doesn't reframe it, he just says it. "Throw me into the sea." And everything pauses. Because that's not a good option. It's just the only one left. So they try to avoid it. Of course they do. They row harder, they push back, they look for anything else, because no one wants to be responsible for that kind of decision. But effort doesn't fix what direction caused. And here's the part most people ignore. The solution wasn't hard. Accepting it was. So they stop. Not because they want to, because there's nothing left to try. And this is where it shifts. Because now it's no longer about survival. It's about alignment. Everything is unstable, because one decision is. So they take him. No speech, no heroic moment, just action. They throw him overboard. And the second he hits the water, everything stops. Instantly. Wind drops. Waves flatten. Silence takes over. Which is unsettling, because it worked. Exactly the way he said it would. And that's the irony. The thing he avoided the most was the only thing that could resolve it. And for a moment, it looks finished. Problem identified, action taken, system stabilized, clean. Too clean. Because this isn't resolution, it's transfer. The storm is gone, but Jonah is still in it. And this is where the illusion breaks, because for a second, running worked. He delayed it, he redirected it, he pushed it onto other people, and then removed himself, and everything calmed down. Which creates the most dangerous conclusion possible, that avoidance works if you're willing to let someone else pay for it. But the story doesn't end where the pressure stops. It continues where the consequence lands. And now, there's nothing between him and it. No ship, no system, no distance, and this time, there's no interruption coming. He tried to outrun the problem. Now, there's nowhere left to go. Because at some point, running stops feeling like movement and starts feeling like a loop. Same issue, different location, no exit plan, just consequences. And Jonah finally hits that point. No crowd, no control, no next move, just him. And the decision he's been avoiding the entire time. Because here's the part people don't like. You can outrun a place, but not a decision. And that realization, it lands heavy. Because nothing new is happening here. No new information, no hidden twist. Just clarity. The same clarity he had at the beginning. Still there, still waiting. And clarity has a way of ruining every excuse. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Running phase, over. And that's where the story shifts. Not outside. Inside. Because Jonah isn't confused, he hasn't been confused for a while. He knew the assignment. He understood the direction. He just didn't like it. And that's a very different problem, because confusion can be solved. Disagreement? That lingers. And that's what this really is, not fear, not doubt, resistance. And resistance is stubborn, it negotiates, it delays, it reframes. But eventually, it runs out of room. And that's exactly what just happened. There's nothing left between him and the decision now. No storm to blame, no distance to hide behind, just responsibility. And that's usually where people pause, because this is the uncomfortable part. Not doing the thing, deciding to. Because once that decision is made, everything else follows automatically. And for a moment, something shifts, not dramatically, not visibly, but enough to break the pattern. Because change rarely looks powerful at first. It looks quiet, almost reluctant, like someone giving in at not stepping up. And that's exactly what this is. No speech, no big moment, just a decision he already knew was coming. And suddenly, he's not running anymore. But that doesn't mean he's okay with it. Not even close, because doing the right thing doesn't guarantee you'll agree with it. And that tension, it stays, it just changes form. Because now the situation is different. The mission will happen. That part is settled. The real question is something else. What happens when the outcome isn't what he wanted? Because sometimes the hardest part isn't obedience. It's watching it work and realizing you still don't like it. Everything works. That's the problem. Because the mission Jonah tried to avoid actually succeeds. The message lands. The city responds. The outcome is exactly what it was supposed to be. No delays, no failure, no chaos, just results. And somehow, that makes it worse. Because this wasn't what he wanted. Not really. He knew this would happen, that's why he ran. Not because he doubted the mission, but because he understood the outcome. And now, he has to watch it happen, exactly as expected. And that's where the real tension begins. Because the conflict is no longer external. No storm, no distance, no obstacles, just him and the result. Mission completed. Satisfaction missing. And that's a strange place to be, because we assume the hardest part is doing the right thing. It's not. The hardest part is this, doing the right thing and not liking what it produces, because obedience doesn't guarantee agreement, and results don't guarantee peace. And Jonah is stuck right there. No more running, no more distractions. Just reality, because this story doesn't end with failure, it ends with discomfort. And that's what makes it different. No collapse, no visible punishment. Just a man watching everything work and still feeling out of place inside it. And that's harder to resolve, because failure is clean. You fix it, you learn from it. But success you disagree with? That lingers. It stays. It forces questions you can't ignore. And that's the final irony. The message worked. The city changed. The outcome was right. But Jonah still resisting it, because knowing what's right doesn't mean you'll like it, and doing what's right doesn't mean it will feel right. And that tension? The story doesn't resolve it. It leaves it there, on purpose. Because this was never just about Jonah. It's about anyone who knows what's right, does it anyway, and still wrestles with it after. Because the real question isn't, will you do the right thing? It's this. What happens when you do, and it works, but you still don't agree with it? And that's where the story ends. Not with answers, with discomfort.